What's up, all you hitchhikers? Welcome to another episode of The Strange Road. We have an awesome guest here today, my boy Eric Rollin. Eric is a professional singer-songwriter, educator, and mentor, also an audio engineer. He's a native of Columbus, Ohio, and he is the co-founder of the Columbus Chicken and Beer Festival, co-founder and singer-songwriter for the national band Mistar Anderson, and he's going to be in here talking about his latest project, worksoffreedomohio.com, and Works of Freedom Ohio. You can check out his latest project, Works of Freedom Ohio, at worksoffreedomohio.com. We're going to get into that and a lot more. Eric, what's happening, man?
What's going on, dog?
How you feeling? How you living?
My boy Mike. What's going on, man? I'm
Dude,
doing good, man.
Awesome.
I'm doing good.
So good to have you in here today.
Same.
We're going to talk about a lot of different things. I want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know where they can find you, some projects that you're working on currently, whether it's the band Mistar Anderson, whether it's Works of Freedom. What you been doing these days, buddy?
Oh, man. Haven't been doing too much with everything going on, but I at the beginning of the year, right before COVID started, I launched a private lessons business and mentoring service, or mentoring services for for the greater Columbus area, I guess.
Let's kill it. We can restart.
I got it, yeah. So that's been my main focus, at least for the past 6 or 7 months, before, pre-COVID.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then once COVID started, then we, just like every other business, we had to shift and, try to do things virtually and whatnot. And that's what I've been doing. I've been doing free online lessons for youth and mentoring for the youth. I've been working with the Franklin County jury program. So I've been getting a few students from there. I've also been working with just students from, from Columbus, youth from Columbus, students from Franklinton Prep, or what's now Franklinton High School. But that was my main focus basically at the beginning of the year. And then also, I was doing the Chicken and Beer Festival. That's always a lot of work every year. And the break every Wednesday. And basically, man, when all this stuff happened, it was like, and I was telling you earlier, it's like for the first 48 hours when they said everything was shut down, I just felt a sense of relief and euphoria because I didn't have to think about all of these things, that I was doing. So, and then after that, as a musician or as an artist, depression sets in because then you're like, am I essential? And so that, went on for a little bit. And then, but honestly, after that, I just, everything just kind of like evened out. I mean, there was a lot of just crazy thoughts and whatnot going through my head at that time. But, I just kept making music. I got asked to do some educational songs for elementary school kids. I wrote a song with my daughter during quarantine, which was really cool. I still gotta put that out.
Nice.
Yeah, she's a beast. She's got bars. Yeah, she's got bars.
What's up?
And I guess I've just been been living my best life, man, for real. Like, we went on vacation. Me and my girl went on vacation a few times. We can work remotely, or we're all working remotely now. So. Yep. That didn't matter, but been eating good.
That's the future right there.
Sleeping good, right? Eating good, sleeping good, all the above. So,
everybody needed that little shutdown, I think, can reprioritize, and some of that pressure of, I got to hustle and go do all these shows, and we got to raise money for the next album, which we'll talk about. I was
about to say.
So you guys got to do that.
We're right. During the quarantine,
Yep.
we were in the middle of a Kickstarter.
Right.
And we actually we actually met our goal.
In your
which
band?
was really cool. Yeah, and the band Mistar Anderson.
Yep.
That's Mistar Anderson. You Google that anywhere. You can pull us up on all platforms. But that was the really dope part. Like, even after having those feelings about, hey, are we supposed to, be doing this? Am I supposed to be doing this? Like, should I have picked a different profession? You know what I mean? And then after all that, we get, the support from the community and the people around us to, to make this next record that we're working on. So
Right.
that was really dope.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And your guys' last record was real dope.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do next. Any idea when your sessions are going to start?
We have recording scheduled at the end of the month. So we're gonna record at the end of the month, and then we're gonna take the next we're gonna take the next month or so to mix it, master it, figure out how we're gonna put it out and market it or whatnot.
Yep.
We've got all of the we've got all the ideas and everything pretty much solidified. We just need to record, and we just need to put it out.
Yep.
So and everybody's really happy about it. Everybody's excited. I can't wait. We're having a really good time with it, and the way we created this album is a little bit different than the way we created the last record.
Okay.
The first let's say 4 or 5 songs that we did were kind of put together traditionally the same way we do it, as far as when me and Dre are working, me and Andre Walker, who's the producer. And the other 5 songs that we created, Andre and I kind of took a direction with it. And so when we were creating the songs, what we would do is, we'd get together one night and then we would write the song that night. You know what I mean? It might be a song or 2. Yeah. But Andre would make the beat that night, and then I would basically either freestyle the song, or I would come up with a very loose idea of what the song is, and then I'd pretty much freestyle the rest of the verses. And there's some music on the new record is like that. It's basically us just, it's just raw. You know what I mean? Like, just, we made it right then and there that night. Yep. It's right off the top of the head.
Capture that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. So that's really exciting to see, like, to be sitting where we are and then watch it turn into what it is musically. You know what I mean? Like, the band comes in, they, everybody gets their eyes and ears on it, and then turn it into something special. So it's really dope to see the direction that it's headed. I'm really excited to share it with everybody because like we just made it up. You know what I mean? Like,
how'd your Kickstarter go?
Kickstarter went great. Yeah. We met our goal, which was great, and we got a lot of people to support us. And we just can't wait to send it out to everybody. Everybody that's, you helped us out. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on the Kickstarter is going to get the record before we drop it. So everybody's going to have it before, So if you want to leak it or whatever, okay. But yeah, you're going to get the record before everybody else does because you contributed. So we're excited to share it with everybody. And we're so grateful and just humbled to see, people get behind us. And I mean, there's some people I don't know. There's a lot of people I do, but there's some people I don't know. Right. You know what I mean? That are supporting us. So we're just, I don't know, man. It's humbling and it's exciting. We're really grateful. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, the last album, you guys pressed some vinyl. So I got vinyl. I spin that all the time. Yeah. My record player's kind of in limbo right now, but I need to pop on a new one. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. It's great stuff. I mean, explain your guys' band, because I would love to, maybe we can get some, obviously, where we can find Mr. Anderson and everybody can kind of tap into what you guys are doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can find, you can stream our album at www.mistaranderson.com. We're on all the social media platforms, most of them. I think we're on Instagram and Facebook, but we're on all the streaming outlets. Yep. Any streaming outlet we're on. YouTube. We got a lot of YouTube material, a lot of video that you've had, a hand in as well. So if you just type in Mistar Anderson,
boom,
it
you're
comes
golden.
up. Yeah, you're right there.
Everything.
So, yep,
cool.
Everything comes up.
Kind of brings me to how we met.
Yeah.
We met, I think it was 2013. I want to say 2013 or 2012.
Yeah, because that's right around the time the EP came out. Yep.
And you guys were with EOP.
Mm-hmm.
You were working, or we were doing a video shoot for CMU, the Columbus Indie Music Union.
Yeah.
And with Mark and Laura, Laura Abrams from Vaughn Music Studios. And afterwards, you came up to me. It was like, yo, what's happening? I was like, hey, dude, you guys are dope. Like, that was awesome. I love your lyrics. Like, you got great flow, and you're like, hey, we should talk. I got this other band, this project, Mistar Anderson, and, we got the studio session coming up. Maybe you can come out and help us out. I was like, I'm there. Cool. Let's do that. And you guys were at Relay Recordings, and we're doing an EP, I think, then.
Yep, that's right.
One of your, what EP was that?
It was the Mistar Anderson EP. The very first.
That was your official first launch EP.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was cool to be a part of that, for sure. Had a good time in the studio, laughed all day.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, these guys are cool.
Yeah, we clown.
I think me and Eric are going to be good buddies after this. But, from there, I think, we've had some... a lot of different experiences together,
Mm-hmm.
some experiences that I think kind of, solidified us as somebody that we can go to for help, for need, for a conversation, for support, creative support, or just even on a personal level. So, I really appreciate having you as one of those friends that I can kind of drop in with and get deep, if you will, and work things out, figure things out, and
get deep. I love that.
Yeah, There's.
I feel like the world right now is starting to get deep with each other.
The world's getting deep, and it's way, way long overdue.
Right.
I mean,
I love it. I love it.
The quarantine, the whole shutdown, that was a thing. This whole next phase of, it's like bam, bam, bam. It's like one after. The businesses didn't even open, and then there's protest in America. Cities are burning, and there's protests, and there's rioting, and it was the first real weekend that businesses were going to be open, restaurants and stores and that whole thing. And then
universe put the kibosh on that shit.
George Floyd, the occurrence in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with George Floyd, which is horrendous.
Yeah.
If you watch that and you don't get moved, whoa. You either are some sort of psychopath, or I don't understand how you don't see that. And there's all these this and that. It's like, dude.
I look at George Floyd as the water breaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like, and who was I telling? I was telling somebody this the other day or whatnot, or might have been earlier today, one of the band members, but it's like human consciousness is in labor right now.
Yeah.
George Floyd was the water breaking, and now everybody is coming into the light, and they're seeing, they're coming out of the womb.
Yep.
We're all coming out of the womb, and they're starting to see everything for what it is and what's been going on and how it works.
The curtain's just ripped back.
And the funny part is, and this is what's tickling to me, is it's like, she's crowning. A human consciousness is crowning. She's having birth, and she's crowning. And some of us are seeing it, but there's a lot of us. I don't know. I think it's slowly happening, but there's a lot of us that are still in the womb.
Well, there's people that are fighting to stay in.
To stay in the womb.
Yeah, they don't like it.
They don't want to come out.
It's uncomfortable.
Right.
They're not comfortable being open and having a discussion like this.
Right.
It genuinely terrifies people to have these kind of conversations.
I love it.
It's too hard. They get weird. They don't want to. It's like, It's not that big of a deal.
I find it interesting. It's been tickling the hell out of me, man. Just to watch people come into the light and like start to understand. And there's been so many conversations that have been had. The first time I experienced racism when I was 10 years old, about the same age as my daughter.
Yeah.
And I remember a kid, I forget his name, but I remember he called me the N-word on the bus, and I will never forget this. I remember looking at his face, and then like a target appearing on his face, and like I had there's like a target, and I was like, because my dad used to always tell me, if anybody says that to you, knock their fucking teeth out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a target appeared on his face, and I was like, and then for some reason I did not hit him.
Yeah.
And I got off the bus. We got home. I told my dad what happened. He was like, what? What happened? We got in our cars. We drove over to the boy's house, and my dad told his mother what happened. And his mother
was horrified.
She went up one side of him and down the other. And then, that was it. And then, that's when I got exposed to it. And ever since then, it's just like, it was just like it was like a realization. It was just like, whoa, this exists.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, when you get older and you find out, who your parents are, you know what I mean? You find out, their flaws and their, you know what I mean? It's, it was kind of similar to that feeling, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, whoa, this is how the world works, And then after that, yeah, it was just like situation after situation. And then you kind of just, you just kind of let it go. You just kind of let it, every now and then some crazy shit will happen, like George Floyd, or somebody, something will happen, somebody will die, or, somebody will, have something, that they bring up, and then, like, oh, that's messed up. And then you talk about it for a while and it goes away. In this particular situation,
yeah,
this conversation hasn't stopped.
No.
And that's a beautiful fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have longed the day to be able to have this conversation anytime I want.
Yeah.
Like, and it not matter. I have to worry about you being uncomfortable about it or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, at this point, it's almost like a trend, especially the young people. They look at it as it's like, it's almost a trend. Like, I had one of my friends who I went to high school with, I'm probably, and I may be some of the only black friends she has or whatnot. I just know that, because of where we grew up. And she said to me, she's been talking to her daughter's 4, she's been talking to her daughter about it. She's like, this is crazy, what's going on, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Me and my husband are looking, trying to educate ourselves.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? She's like, do you have any recommendations? Like, are you
That's
okay?
cool.
You know what I mean? All these things. I just, and I grew up in a, predominantly white neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, I went to a nice school, a decent school. I had a nice place to live. I was probably one of 5 or 6 people, people of color at my high school. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we experienced those things all the time, and we just didn't really talk about them, or if it was like, messed up enough to talk about, we did, but the conversation always stopped. And now the conversation has to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's one of the most beautiful and tickling things in the world to me.
I bet.
Like, I have been getting up every morning, especially for the last week. I've been getting up every morning laughing my fucking ass off about what's going on, and just the way things are happening and the way people are responding. Some of it's really messed up.
Every day there's something new.
Every day.
Like, you had
every day.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell put out a statement, and, the Colin Kaepernick situation with everyone just going off about disrespecting the flag. It's like, it was never about the flag. It was about cops killing black people.
Right.
And protesting police brutality.
And isn't that in the...
And now all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, it was just like, it was never about the flag. Doy. I mean...
Everybody backpedaling like right.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what is... Wait, what? No, wait. No, I didn't say that. No.
Yeah. I mean, the Drew Brees thing, that was like a huge... I mean, his own teammates went hard in the paint on him on social media. Malcolm Jenkins. And
I'm not really familiar. Like, I don't keep up with sports too much anymore. What?
That kind of broke through the whole sport. I don't watch a lot of ESPN and all that, but that kind of broke through into the main, like, my Google feed as, you know, kind of headline national world news.
Yeah.
But basically he was on a radio show and he asked about kneeling during the national anthem. And he took a pretty hard stance that my grandfathers were World War II veterans. I'm not going to respect anyone that kneels and essentially desecrates, or whatever you want to say, the national anthem or the flag, or the national anthem. Took a hard stance on basically backing up, and his black teammates, went in. A lot of other NFL players just went in, dude, and there was no stop. I mean, the flood, and that was kind of like one of the big kind of breaking points and that was last Friday or Thursday. I can't remember. I think it was Thursday when he said it. The blow up was the day after, but he came out and had a public apology, put out an Instagram video. There was like a team meeting for the Saints, and there's people like calling for his retirement.
Wow. That's what's up, man.
And so,
you know, that's what these are happening.
That's kind of like, hey.
A lot of that is happening all over the world, man. I mean, one of the things that tickled me like the other day was there was a restaurant owner in Baltimore, and he owned a crab shack or like a crab house or something, and he had a lot of black business owners around him or whatnot, but during these riots, I guess he posted or, you know, said something on a status or said something on Facebook, just something messed up. I don't know. But people found it. Yeah. You know, and they said, yo, what? And then they went back through his history and found more stuff. Yeah. And then posted it. Next thing you know, all the business orders and the protests were happening in front of his restaurant. Right. You know what I'm saying? So now he's like, he's standing out there with his wife. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, and the people are going in on him, and it was so funny because there's like all these people around him. There's black business owners, like there's a black female business owner right behind him, one on the side of him, and they surround him and they talk to him about it. And one of a black man comes out of nowhere, it's an older black guy. He comes out, he's like, look, man, here's what we gonna do. He was like, we gonna need you to shut down. We gonna need you to shut down. And then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about what we think you should do with your business. And he didn't have a choice because 75% of his business were black. Yeah. He didn't have a choice. So he was just like, and then he says, well, how long should I shut down? Well, how long? And then one of the business owners, she goes, 9 days. 9 days for the 9 minutes that man kneeled on his neck. And I was like, this is beautiful. And then after that,
amazing power being taken back. Right. That's what it signifies to me.
But here's the one that was really, really funny. And this is what like really tickled me was he made a video after the fact, put up online to basically apologize for what happened or whatnot. And it was despicable. But he starts off the video basically saying like, I had no idea. Like, you know, I didn't realize I was going to be demonized. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that, you know, he basically was saying all the things that happen to a black person when they are treated unfairly or unjustly by the police, if they're treated unfairly or unjustly in work, you know what I mean, or just out kicking it, you know what I mean? It was just, and then halfway through the video while he's apologizing, the Lion King music comes on.
Oh my God. Oh my!
It's just it's hilarious, and it's just like, and he's trying to apologize, but it's just like he you know, he's got a lot of soul searching to do before he gets to the point where it's like, yo, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? He was he just couldn't take himself out of the equation and just be like, I fucked up, you know what I mean? So that's why it's so funny to me, you know. I'm looking forward to all of that. Just to keep that coming, keep that rolling in, and then comedians need to have a pen and a paper out right now and take notes. Because it's just like it's all gold right now. It's just so much gold right now. It's beautiful.
Comedy clubs are starting to open back up. There's people starting to go on the road again. It's like some of my favorite comics. I know, like Sam Tripoli, he started doing shows again. Yeah, I think he had one like Arizona, but you can kind of see that. Oh man, I want to see all that material coming out of the quarantine into the protests.
Oh man,
into
it's gonna be good.
George Floyd's and all of it. I mean, we're just now halfway through the year.
Yeah. There's so much.
What else is coming?
It's just like, I don't know.
Man, if I had a crystal ball and could see the next 6 months, because, I think, the COVID-19 thing, I think everyone's like, no one's thinking about COVID-19 unless you walk into
hell no, they think about COVID-19.
You walk into a store, it reminds you everyone's wearing masks.
Especially black people ain't thinking about COVID-19. Cops are killing black people at a way higher rate than COVID-19 is. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Nobody thinking about that. It's funny. I love my mom to death, but I went over her house. And, she's been real, because she's high risk. She's been real careful about everything. And I remember after all these protests and everything started happening and whatnot, and I started seeing all these videos with corrupt cops doing crazy stuff. I went in and walked up, I went to her, because I always cut her grass, for her and stuff. And I went over there and I went to walk in to use the restroom. And I just walked by her real quick. And I wasn't even thinking about COVID. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's like, whoa, watch out. And I was like, and I looked at my mom, I was like, Mom, I was like, there's bigger fish to fry, Mom. I was like, there's bigger fish to fry now. I don't think we got to really worry about that anymore. But, I mean, that's the truth. It's like people, and even people that are not a color, like they're understanding this. It's like, this is way worse than COVID. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is a virus that has been, plaguing our entire society for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's like, screw this new shit. You know what I mean?
400 years.
Yeah. It's like, screw with this new thing going on. Like, we need to deal with the virus that we've all been getting, murked by this entire time. It's like, so I mean, I don't know. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's scary, you know what I mean? And you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there's a hurricane sitting off the coast of, New Orleans right now. You know what I mean? They just evacuated New Orleans, recently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had some dude in Michigan, or not Michigan, it was Virginia, was a president of the KKK or a chapter or something, drove into a crowd and got out with a Uzi.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like we're still waiting on all this shit to happen this year. Yeah. And we're only 6 months in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, like with the protests, they're getting co-opted in some ways.
Right.
It's like there's certain groups that are like pretending to be other groups that are, are there agents of provocateurs. That's been kind of a big interest of mine, is like how organic are these riots for real? Right. Like there is herd mentality. There is this kind of thing that clicks on when you start feeling that buzz in the air. Right. You start feeling that energy. All it takes is one dude, one agent of provocateur that throws a brick through the window, and some dude that probably isn't necessarily any one of these groups that, a lot of groups have been called out as, who knows? It's probably a mixture of all of it. First of all, in California, or wherever the hell that was, where they're dropping pallets of bricks off alongside the road. Right. Who's doing that? Is that Amazon? Is Amazon dropping those bricks off on the
side? Amazon got the money too.
I mean, they're all about Black Lives Matter right now. You seen that?
I bet
Amazon, these big corporations. Well, now all of a sudden, Black Lives Matter hashtags are like on the highest levels of corporations. It's like, what is Amazon gaining by?
Well, that's one thing I wanted to dive into too, because people talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, and people talk about, how, it was, a lot of people who are racist or on the other side or whatever are saying it's a racist movement, it's a terrorist movement or whatnot. And, when you go back and you look at where and when Black Lives Matter popped onto the scene, you know what I mean? That was when Ferguson happened. Yep. And then they went to Ferguson and basically were like, yo, we need to change these boards and stuff, because everybody that's sitting on the boards of city council and everything, there isn't anybody of color on any of these boards. Right. So it's just like, we need to change that. So they went in and they changed it. They moved on to the next city or next county, and they started changing it. And then when white supremacy got a eye on that, and they were like, oh, wait a minute, they're doing what we don't want them to be doing. Right. And then they hijacked the movement. Yep. You know what I mean? But here's the crazy part.
Do you think it was hijacked?
You think it was hijacked? How does Time magazine, put Black Lives Matter in the magazine? Like,
How is it an Amazon commercial?
Right.
That's
like, how does that happen? That's money.
Yeah.
We talking about money. You know what I mean? And it's not like they're
I still think it's a great thing to be out there, like just the phrase Black Lives Matter.
And that's what I was going to say is the
that's,
source. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
For example, the source of policing is slave catching. Yeah. So that's why that hasn't stopped.
Go into that a little bit.
Still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If you Google a slave catcher badge and a sheriff badge or sheriff deputy badge, they literally look exactly the same. They're one and the same. And that's the source of policing is slave catching. So the reason why we have been seeing policing disproportionately doing all these things to people of color is because that's what that was designed to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not doing anything else that it wasn't designed to do.
And you have laws like in Baltimore
and
Ferguson
and
even
laws.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's things systematic as in terms of what properties people can buy. Yep. It's literally written into the city of Baltimore's laws that there's certain areas where, guess what? You're black, you can't live here.
Yeah.
That's legit systematic racism to say we're going to essentially put you here. We're going to let white people go here.
Yep.
And so when it's that ingrained literally into the laws of some of these cities, and like you said, the origins of police force being slave catchers. So when you have that sort of movement, how do you stop that energy flow from 400 years ago to now and how do you change that?
How do you stop that?
But also too, you know, it starts on like a level where, you know, police force, all of that has to go through a drastic change, 100%. But how do we help these inner city communities where all of these, it seems like a lot of these murders and people dying and going head to head with police officers?
We do the same thing. We do the same thing that they do in other cities and towns that have money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for example, if you go to New Albany or Upper Arlington and whatnot, there is one cop for every like 500 plus people. You know what I mean? And a lot of their money goes into making sure that the students and, you know, they have nice
community centers.
Yeah, community centers.
Parks.
They have nice parks. They have nice places to have sports events. They have nice places to have music events or art events.
Healthy food options.
Yeah, they
not
have
food
grocery stores.
Food deserts.
Actual grocery stores.
Big thing.
I work on the west side.
Yeah.
And it's a food desert over there.
Yeah.
It's a food desert. There's literally not one grocery store, but there is
corner store. You can get some
ramen
noodles and ravioli and SpaghettiOs.
There's a Burger King. There's a White House. There's a White House. There's a White Castle. There's a Burger King. There's a White Castle. There's a Subway. There's a Wendy's. There is I think there's one or two more, but there's not a grocery store. There's not a place where you can get fresh food, fresh produce. You know what I mean? Like, and when you don't eat those things, it also affects how you think.
Yeah.
It also affects what you think about. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, that's what needs to happen is that they just need to do this. They do whatever bar is for, you know, the suburban area, you know, in the city or whatever, that's the bar.
Right.
And that's where you set it, get everybody on.
There's literally no difference at all.
Right.
You're taking the same
already doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, that's what needs to happen.
Injecting actual, like, good money and good resources into the school systems. After school programs, whether it's like drama club, science club, you know, sports, you know, weekend basketball, you know, there's so many things that, you know, on a systemic level, like we just need to take care of everyone the same way we would, no matter who it is.
Yeah, no matter who it is, because it's already happening. And that's what's funny, is that people are, you know, searching for answers that we already have. We already have those answers. We just need to just implement them, just like we're implementing them in other places. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as the policing goes, I mean, shit, dude. I mean, so much needs to happen. But
how many times have you been pulled over, do you think, just because you're black? I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'd say probably more times than I can count on my hands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I got away.
You've been
Sometimes I didn't.
disproportionate. I mean, Bub, I co-host on the Strange
yeah.
Road. Bub was with you
Yeah.
one time when you got pulled over, and you're like, "Oh, yep, this is happening." Bub's like, "No, this is not happening." And you got pulled over, and Bub's just like, "This is ridiculous."
And you know what's crazy is I was with Bub one time, and I remember, we always just, we both talk at the same time, but we're both listening. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But we're sitting there having a conversation, and all of a sudden a cop gets behind him, and I found
he was just parked.
No, he was
right?
driving.
Oh, okay.
We were driving somewhere. I can't remember, but a cop got behind him. We're both looking. You know what I mean? But I just thought it was interesting. This Bub was just like, but yeah. Anyway, man, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I stopped talking. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh
shit's
shit,
about to go down.
What the fuck's going on right now? Like, I mean, I'm in the passenger seat. You know, I'm not even driving. You know what I mean? But it was just like, both of our reactions were completely different.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
It's just like, because so many more things are going through. I know that so many more things are going through my mind. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he didn't skip a beat. He was like, but yeah, anyway, bro, you know what I'm saying? And, and we continue to have the conversation, but it's just those kind of things. But as far as policing goes, I think the number one thing that we need to deal with, since the source of policing is slave catching, is the presence of the Ku Klux Klan in policing. That is, I feel, probably
I think there's a lot of Klansmen in police forces.
Hell yeah. There was an article not too long ago with a police, I don't know if it was Minneapolis or somebody, but they found a Ku Klux Klan application at his crib.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My uncle lives in Pickerington. You know what I'm saying? My uncle is maybe a little bit darker than me. You know what I mean? He got a Ku Klux Klan flyer when he moved to Pickerington.
Damn.
In his mailbox. You see what I'm saying?
Damn.
He's darker than me. You mean to tell me y'all don't know a black man lives there? You see what I'm saying? Or just letting him know, like, yo, bro, just know where you at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of that. And it's ran like a fraternity.
It's real secretive.
It's very secretive. And if you're a police officer, if you choose to have a career in policing, you are either, whether you're a good or bad cop, because there's the whole conversation going around about good cop, bad cop, good cop, bad cop. Fuck that shit. The problem is the culture of policing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a good cop or a bad cop. You can be a good cop.
And turn into a bad cop.
But you're going to see, hear, experience, or participate or choose not to participate in corrupt activity.
The culture.
And if you don't, the people who do participate in that activity will make sure, and you speak up about it, will make sure that you lose your job, will make sure that your job's harder, will discourage you from pursuing a positive police career. You know what I mean? Like, that is across the board. They have a code and everything. It's like, that is what needs to be addressed in policing, is that the systemic Ku Klux Klan involvement in policing. Period. That's how it started. That's who started it. You know what I mean? That's the organ. Or if they didn't start it, that was the group that took over and enforced it. You know what I mean? I mean, they were passing out, hunting licenses for slaves and stuff. And then even after slavery was done, they were still doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
and not to
that
mention,
needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. And if that's not addressed, it's like, it's gonna be a long time before things start changing. You know what I mean? Or we just need to start taking their money from them. You know what I mean? Like, every police officer has to have insurance.
That's starting right now.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's already a thing.
They're getting defunded, from the federal side,
right.
With the militarization of all the crazy riot gear, dude.
Right, they look like RoboCops,
stormtroopers, be
They look like RoboCops, bro.
Yeah,
like, what in the world?
They have Caesars. I mean, that was all deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan in the early 2000s, and in those wars, those sonar rays, which are Caesars, they're essentially sound rays that are up on top of those. They look like fucking tanks, dude.
Wow.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Not to mention the National Guard. When I'm coming home from the office here 2 nights in a row, trying to hit curfew, trying not to get locked down here during curfew.
They just shot and killed somebody not too long ago, barbecuing way far away from the protest.
Yeah.
And that's what I find is interesting is that.
What do you think about Columbus PD? Because there was some survey, I think it was, I can't remember which tragic shooting or the last one that there was protests, and they were regionally.
Breonna Taylor or Ahmed.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was it.
Well, you know what's interesting is not long, like I think it was right before George Floyd happened. I was tooling around on one of my friends' like electric bikes that he rents. You know what I mean? And I went downtown just riding around or whatever, and when all this was going on, I think it was right before George Floyd. It was the week of, or no, it was that Sunday. It was the 24th, I think. I went down there, I was riding around, and I noticed that the Columbus precinct, every single tree that was on the block of the Columbus precinct had a blue ribbon on it. You know what I'm saying? So it was almost as like they were like, you know, and mind you, the whole conversation that's happening in America before any of that happened was Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, you know what I mean? Stop killing black people. And Columbus, I don't know how long that these blue ribbons were there, but they were there when, you know, all of this is going down. You know what I'm saying? So I think as far as the Columbus police go, they need to go through every single Columbus police officer, and they need to see how many complaints you have from the community.
Yeah, because this dude had 12.
Yeah.
12?
Oh, you talking about the dude in Minneapolis?
The
that
guy
dude killed 6 people, bro, before that. He had killed 6 other people.
He'd been involved with
He had been involved in 6 other killings. He was involved in a
But he was
car
written
crash.
up like 12 different times for like racial situations.
Yeah.
With African Americans and Latinas.
He's on record saying that he's uncomfortable around people of color. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, I think that's what needs to happen. They need to go in, check out all the complaints. If you have over a certain amount of complaints or the nature of the complaints, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're fired. Bye.
A lot of them need to be
Peace.
like retroactively fired almost.
Yeah.
Like
you need to be fired. You need to be let go, and you should not be allowed to go police anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because that's
they get shift them around to, hey, you want to go be a state trooper now?
Right.
You may be a Columbus police officer, and then next thing you know, you're a highway cop, or you can maybe get into the sheriff or work for Homeland Security or even TSA or something like that.
Yeah. Darren Brown, the guy that shot Mike Brown, was in a police force that was disbanded for not being able to have good relations with the community. Right. That was 3 months before Mike Brown got shot.
Oh, dude, that
Mike left.
Brown story was
that story was crazy. But he left three months before Mike Brown got shot. He left, joined the Ferguson Police Department, and a month later shot Mike Brown. You know what I mean? He had already been fired for not being able to do what a police officer is supposed to do. And not only him, his entire force was fired for that. So that tells you right there, so we are dealing with entire forces and entire groups of people who believe that slave catching is still okay. You know what I'm saying? Or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like subconsciously, you know? And that's because it's the reason that policing was created. That is what they're embracing. And any source, same with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter got hijacked, but the reason Black Lives Matter and the purpose it was made, it's all happening. It's happening.
Whether or not it
whether you
got
want to
hijacked,
like it or not,
doesn't matter.
The purpose is being seen through.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's not
Totally
just
agree.
people who are black either. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, this needs to happen. So now people who are racist are losing their jobs. You know, people are
getting called out on social media with screenshots of old text messages.
Yes.
Where like
you're paying for your
like public
sins.
figures. It's kind of like
mean?
the Me Too, like the Harvey Weinstein thing where everybody was getting Me Too'd. I feel that coming now, where you're gonna have all these like closeted racist people that are public personalities, whether it's on like CNN or MSNBC, whether they're news people or sportscasters or even, you know, athletes. You're going to start seeing a lot of and you're starting to see them now. Yeah. There's people like just getting called out for things that maybe they had said in the past that was in private,
right?
But it was on video or you're gonna start seeing that, dude. And that's gonna be hilarious.
Yes, that's what's funny.
Because there's a lot of fake motherfuckers out there. Mm-hmm. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And they have an ideology built into them, which is programming from when they're kids.
Yeah.
Right. You know, for me, luckily, I never heard the N-word in my house ever.
Nice.
So
that's good.
I you know, they're growing up in a small town. You hear it when you get a little bit older. If you're like, you know, I bale hay for farmers, and it's just like a word that you would hear every now and then. Mm-hmm. And then I remember coming back to my parents and being like, you know, what is that about? And then like, well, it's something you never want to say. It's terrible.
Wow.
And it's, you know, just don't pay attention to it.
Don't
it's
emulate that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
interesting.
But you know, now I have a multicultural family, my wife's side and you know, my side of the family. I have, you know, 3 biracial and black nephews. My brother-in-law's a black guy, one of the best dudes ever. You know, he's raising 2 black sons in America right now. So we were lucky enough to go back home to Toledo, and I got a chance to hang out with him and talk to him all weekend.
One of the things I want to say, because you said like he's raising 2 black sons. One of the things that I think is going to change, which I think needs to be addressed, is that a lot of people, especially in the black community, we are all being told or we are being instructed on how to tell our youth how to deal with the police.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what we were talking about. He was telling me about this a little bit. And
I honestly think that's wrong. I don't think it's necessary to.
It might not be anymore.
And that was my point. Is that's what we're moving in that direction.
Because I talked to his mom. She came over for a little bit and was like, hey, you know, I sat him down and his brothers and said, when you run into the police, you do what you're told. You don't talk back. You do exactly what they ask because you're literally powerless in that situation.
Right.
And for your own safety and to not get thrown in jail or, you know, being defiant essentially. You know, she was teaching them to, you know, do what you're told. Don't be defiant. And I think that even, and I know I can't speak for Neil. I'd love to have Neil on the show sometime. He's very articulate, hilarious dude, and has a lot of really good insights into, you know, for me. And these are conversations I have with him all the time. We talk about race in our, I mean, my wife's half Indian. My father-in-law's from India, Dakor. On her side of the family, there's Jews, there's white people, there's Indians, there's black people. So, you know, I have a black nephew. My sister's son's biracial and living in a small town. And, you know, he's gotten some hiccups that I've kind of had to grab him and like, dude, you got to understand where you are right now. You are 6'5", you're biracial, okay? You stick out like a sore thumb. You can't be fucking around back here. You just can't. Like, you're gonna be a target. Period. You know.
And see, and that's what I'm saying is that conversation is going to change because when you teach young people how to respect or obey filth, shit. You know what I mean? Because those actions and what those police do to put those people in those situations, that shit's wrong. Yeah. So when you teach a young person, hey, you got to make sure that you don't do something wrong to respect something that's already being done to you wrong, you know what I mean? Then they start to question everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it kind of, it's their power and their, you know, who they are and their identity kind of like seeps away a little bit because they're like, wait a minute, like, why do I have, they don't know how to tell you this, you know what I mean? But they're like, wait a minute, why do I have to do that? Yeah. Why am I the one who has to respect something that is not humane? You know what I'm saying? And I think right now, that's the beautiful part about the state of the world right now is that conversation is being had and it won't stop.
All over.
And now the conversation is not going to be with the kid, it's going to be with the police departments. They're going to be like, you better make sure you do your job and you better make sure you don't touch my kid or that's your fucking ass.
And how about this? We haven't even talked about private prisons and the fuckery behind that whole world.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not even just the public prisons. Those are horrendous. And I mean, just look at the stats. It doesn't take a scientist to understand to understand the disproportionate amount of black people that are in prison.
Right.
Holy shit. And most of them are like low-level drug crimes.
Yeah.
And those laws that are instated, going back to Nixon and Reagan, I mean, Nixon's chief of staff basically admitted that the reason why they were outlawing
we're trying to catch all the black people, man.
It was hippies and black people. Yeah. That's who they wanted. The anti-war protesters, the Black Panthers, all of, the Martin Luther King Jr. and all those people in the civil rights movement, it's, you just go after the substances that they were using. That's all you got to do. Yeah. You don't need to go after their ideology. You don't need to go after their anti-war, for war. They want rights for.
All you have to do is separate them.
They want human rights. They want liberty. Doesn't matter. We're going after the weed. We're going after the coke. We're going after the heroin. Yeah. And those drugs.
If we can separate the man from the family, then we can control everything. We can control.
And you have generations of kids growing up without fathers. That's the sad truth.
Kids with incarcerated parents, man.
And it's horrendous, man. Yeah. I mean, these kids don't have, a lot of times, other family members will come in and help raise them. But man, a father is so important. Yeah. Right. And it's dark, dude. I mean, that's one of those things that we're going to see in, right now it's about policing. Then there's going to be there's going to be layers of these conversations that are going to continue to build. Right. Well, let's talk about prisons now. Let's talk about
one of my favorite songs, man, is Citizen Dude from Citizen Cope sings it. He says, when the penitentiary is on fire, I'm waiting on the day when the people are free to see. When the penitentiary is on fire. You know what I'm saying? When we see that shit, that's when we know shit has changed. Right. You know what I'm saying? As they gotta set that shit ablaze.
I mean, do you need to lock up murderers and rapists and people that are stealing shit and fucking up? Yeah, of course. No one's talking about having a lawless society. I think that's bull. I think you need some sort of order in some sense. It doesn't have to be this lawless Wild West type of society that we live in. Right. You just can't go around picking up people for walking down the street and then searching them. You're selling loose cigarettes, and the next thing you know, you're getting fucking choked out on a street in New York City.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, unbelievable. That's in this case, George Floyd, they called about a fake $20 bill. That who knows if George Floyd even knew that was a fake $20 bill. Right. Nobody fucking knows. Right. The guy is not around to speak for himself of what actually happened. Exactly. He never got the opportunity to speak his truth.
And I'm glad you brought that back up because I think it's very important, especially if any of your listeners or viewers or whatnot haven't seen that video. You should go watch that
the
video.
The
whole
thing.
Video. I mean, from start to finish. I mean, the whole 8-9 minutes from the time that he's moving until the time he stops moving. Like, you need to watch the whole thing. And at one point in that video, there is an EMT or I don't know who it is, but they come and they check his pulse. And the dude puts his fingers underneath the guy's knee and checks his pulse and then walks away, and he keeps his knee on his neck after dude checks his pulse. So it's just like, what is going on? Like, what are y'all doing? You know what I mean? Like, and then, you have that, and then all of these accounts, people have been filming cops ever since the protests have started and everything. They filmed cops destroying private property. They've filmed cops assaulting men, women, children.
I'm glad you're bringing that up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they have
Joyce Beatty got pepper sprayed. Yeah. Everybody loves Joyce Beatty. Me and Stone have worked with her a couple times. We've interviewed her before. Joyce Beatty is the best, dude.
It's crazy.
And she's like old school civil rights activist, and like it's all crazy, on video.
Yeah.
And another guy that was government here in Ohio was with her
Yeah.
as well.
Shannon Hardin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that got
President.
national, worldwide news.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just another one of those moments where you're like, oh shit, like 25 million people just got woke the fuck up.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
in one bam.
Yeah. And
You
then
know?
the Ohio State student that died from pepper spray.
Jeez, dude,
You know what I
that's so
mean? Like, that's insane. You know what I mean? Like, they're using...
And the knee knockers, they're not shooting them at the ground.
Yeah, they're
just
shooting them at people. They're hitting them in the
You ain't supposed to
heads.
do that.
They're shooting them like... I remember I saw
You
a
could
video.
kill somebody, hit you right in the temple. You're done.
Yeah.
Lights out. It's over.
I saw a video where this guy was driving by and he had his pregnant wife in the car and they were shooting at the car. And he got out and said, my pregnant wife's in the car. And they kept shooting at his car. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what are y'all doing? But I find it interesting that, like, we protest police brutality. We go to protest police to brutality, and then police commit police brutality to stop us from protesting police brutality. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's interesting. That shows us where we are and like where the universe and like, and everybody's showing.
Give.
Something's got to give. Everybody's showing it. You got cops on film committing crimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that can only go on for so long, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, and on top of that, you know, I think it says in the Constitution I think it's in the Constitution, it says after a certain amount of time, if somebody is taking away your rights after a certain amount of time, you know what I mean? And you have done everything you can to get them and to keep them, and they still keep taking away over a period of time, it is your duty. It is your duty as an American to respond.
To assemble
And respond appropriately.
Right.
And that's, you know what I mean? And there weren't any black people in the room when that shit was written down.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
So we are literally embracing the words that came out of our oppressors' mouths. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, as far as I'm concerned, man, shit, let it burn, man. Let it come on with it. But one thing I find that I think is interesting is that with this curfew going into place and the military being, you know, dispatched to everybody all over the country.
By the way,
our curfews got lifted.
Yeah.
But the military's still there.
The National Guard, I think they sent home.
Did
maybe
they?
I think they pulled. Maybe that was D.C., so there was 100 National Guardsmen from Ohio that went to help. Trump called for it, for backup, because the fucking White House was getting, it was getting a little scary.
We need backup at the crib, y'all.
Yeah, he went down in the bunker, I think, on that Friday.
Yeah,
and they put up these big-ass fences, totally fucking backfired, by the way.
Like
Did you see all those signs that people are decorating with all this amazing art over his fence? It basically became a fucking shrine and a memorial to all these dead black people and all these people that are all these figures that is over and over again as this happens. You know, all these people that these corrupt cops over the years have affected, their families, these messages. And now it was this ugly wall to keep people out and to keep our president safe.
It's being used.
And now it's become this, like, totally just, that's the thing. Like, when something happens, it just gets flipped.
Yeah, and that's the young people right now.
They can't hold that narrative anymore.
That's the young people right now, man. It's like the youth, man. They're so freaking sharp right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just taking things and flipping it on his head. They see it and they flip it on his head immediately, and they're just like, "Screw you, we're not doing that." You know what I mean? Screw you, we're not. Like, they changed.
We all grew up with black culture, dude.
They changed Pennsylvania Avenue to Black Lives Matter Avenue. You know what I'm saying? You know how fucking dope that is? It's just like, now every letter that the president gets, it says Black Lives. That means now he's going to see Black Lives Matter Avenue every time he reads a piece of mail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or whoever in there reads a piece of mail. It's like, those are the kind of things that's the level that's where the youth at right now. You know what I mean? And that's the other.
They don't buy into the old narratives, though. They don't buy into what their parents might have thought.
Right.
They look at all their heroes, and probably it's a mix. You know, some of your favorite athletes are black people. Some of my favorite musicians are black. Growing up as a kid, I listened to Dre, Snoop, Tupac, Biggie.
Well.
You know, I was a kid listening to some heinous music for what if my mom and dad were to hear that back when I was in like 5th, 6th grade. But, you know, my favorite athletes, all African American. So, you know, we grew up with black culture, living in a small little town in Ohio. So when I moved away, it was just like, there was no, it's like with these young kids, they're growing up with the culture and they're not buying into these falsehoods about who black people are.
Right.
Because they see the most successful people out there, the entertainers and people in business.
It's all like backfired.
So, it's just
like backfired right in their faces.
And that happened in the 50s with Little Richard.
Right.
And, and
he had to say it himself. He had to say, I'm at the award ceremony.
Right.
He had to let them know, like, I actually should be winning this, but okay.
You
know what I mean? Like,
and like, who is the real king of rock?
Right.
Everybody knows who made rock and roll the biggest thing ever. Definitely was not Elvis Presley.
Right.
It's like,
oh man, that's interesting. I love it. I do.
But there's so much open mind. There's so much openness. It's not just with, the Black Lives Matter movement, the protests, and it's like all kinds of conversations are flowing now, which is great. Like you're going to see these divisions, these walls that have been built up, and it's just all dissolving. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, right.
Right. And like the COVID-19 shutdown and everybody being completely locked down, and then it's like the whole country just explode. There's just this pressure that was building, dude.
Yeah.
This pressure and pressure and pressure. And so you just see people coming out of all races and colors to these protests that are just like geared up.
Yeah.
And they're ready to go.
Yeah.
They are ready to fight these old bullshit stories that we've been told about who people are.
Right.
Well, I mean, it just boils down to we are all one creation. I mean, it really does not matter. And the quicker people wake up to these facts, we all come from the stars. We're all made up of the exact same thing. And it's a lot of times the media, the different groups want to spin back and forth to pin us all against each other.
Well, then, and then you got to ask yourself, like, what is really going on, man? Like, what is really, really going on right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we know that, all these things are connected and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, how, I don't know, man. It's just like, I think that's one of the things that I've been, I guess, struggling with is what is really going on right now? You know what I mean? What is the motives? What is the agenda? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we are on somebody's agenda, and we don't know. We don't know what it is. We don't know who it is. And even since the beginning of the year, even when Trump got elected, there's this air of uncertainty this entire time. And this year alone, the air of uncertainty has gotten just crazy.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like the entire country or the entire world is not going to be surprised if something crazy. Like we're not going to be surprised.
So
you know what I mean? Like this time,
right now.
7-8 years ago, whatever, when Obama was like, man, this shit wouldn't have flew. You know what I mean? Like none of this would have flew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like,
dude, even last year, I mean, Colin Kaepernick and the whole that was going on forever, and people were not backing down, not giving him an opportunity to play. And now all of a sudden, the whole thing's flipped.
Right.
And now it's like, everybody can protest. It's all good. Just forget about all the
forget
stuff
about
we
what
said
happened.
the last 3 years ago.
About us
and I
making his
guarantee
life a living hell.
I guarantee you that dude is going to be a quarterback in the NFL now.
Oh, he better be.
And it's like,
but then
you could have. The guy lost 3 years of his peak in his peak athletic ability.
Right.
But again, all these different things add up. Like you said in the beginning, it's like this dam is breaking. The birthing of this consciousness that's coming into the planet right now.
Human consciousness and human.
Yeah.
The color of man.
Yeah.
We are seeing humans for what they really are. And it's 2020.
Yep.
Vision's 2020 and 2020. Like, it's crazy.
It's
dude.
weird.
Yeah, look at that nuts. It's
by the
all
way,
happening.
We are living in a fucking movie.
Yeah.
We are.
We have to be.
We have to be living in a movie.
Dude, the
it's
Amish
some sort
were
of
protesting Black Lives Matter.
stop,
The Amish.
dude.
I'm dead. Okay, so when you have a society that is cut off from society,
And
that is telling you
somehow
that society that you're living in is fucked up,
They live
we
on the
missed the
outside
mark.
of
Yeah,
society.
they live on the outside of society, and they're
Yeah.
telling us, "Yo, y'all are fucking up. What are you doing? These are people that aren't even connected. You know, these people that don't, you know, they all stay to themselves,
Yeah, in their own
and they're
communities.
telling us."
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
In
dog.
Europe, the Middle East, there's
Right.
protests that have broke out in the Middle East.
This is a movie. This is a movie, dude. Like,
Right.
this is a movie.
And we have a reality TV show host as our president. That's how you know we're living in this. It's a hologram of some sort.
And he was trained
Some
to be our host.
kind of a film strip,
Right.
That's playing on a reel.
And he was trained to be our host. He already, you know, was a TV star. He knows what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
So if we are living in a movie
I think
and it's moving forward
Mm-hmm.
in time, we can change which direction, which
Right.
film strip maybe that we want to put on
Right.
next.
well, I think
And so that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. I think. Well, I mean, I think with racism, I think the one thing I'm a little worried about is that, you know, especially when Trump was, you know, in office, a lot of people who were covert about racism became overt about racism and just was like, "Fuck it, we gonna turn up on y'all.
We're going all in.
Yeah, we're going all in. We're gonna, you know, we're gonna say what we want to say, do what we want to say," because they felt like they had a leader in the country that was willing to embrace their ideologies. So now that all this is happening, I feel like now we're going back. So that's what's concerning us, is that everybody that, you know, was, you know, whatever and didn't turn up during that time, they're just going to go back into their holes, and they're just going to keep on, especially people of power, are just going to keep on operating the way they were operating, you know, when Obama was president. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's kind of scary. So I think it's very important for anybody who is not a color, like, and you are interested in educating yourself, you know, on racism, like, just know that it don't stop. Like, it keeps going. The layers just keep going. I mean, and it's not just policing, mass incarceration, you know, disproportionate wealth. It's just one thing after that, but it keeps going deeper than that, and it goes into a psychological level. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. You can't get a whole entire, like, group of people who come from a completely different country to start doing what you want them to do without psychologically tricking them, you know what I mean, over a certain period of time. You know what I mean? Like, it goes that deep. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny. The next album I'm going to put out, my solo record, I have a song on there that's called John Arthur Johnson. And John Arthur Johnson, and the hook is called King Kong. You know what I mean? I don't know if I showed you or not, but basically I'm trying to show that, you know, King Kong was made to make fun of, or to have a negative just outlook on the first black heavyweight boxer of the world.
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson.
Yep,
You know
I
what I'm
heard that
saying?
before.
John Arthur Johnson.
Yep.
So I named the song John Arthur Johnson.
That's cool as fuck, man.
You know what I mean? But and King Kong was made in 1933.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jack Johnson was heavyweight or was heavyweight champion in like 1910 or at the beginning of the century. You know what I'm saying? So they have been psychologically programming our society to accept and to go with, especially people who are not of color, to accept and to go with this, you know, black people suck, you know what I mean? Like, but we're okay. And they're like this, they're the race, but we're the ones that are normal. But and if you think about King Kong in the film, from 1933 all the way up to 2017, every time they remake King Kong, it has a unlimited budget.
Yep.
It has the best actors that are in the game at the time.
Yep.
And they just make sure that whatever this is, you know, and everybody loves it.
Yep.
You know, it's got the best state-of-the-art special effects. It's got every single thing that you could think of that Hollywood, you know, can throw at you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but when you go back and you look at the source and the origin of why that was created,
Yep.
that's how far they are. So I encourage anybody who's not color that's educating themselves on racism right now, be ready to get pissed, because you have a lot of layers to peel back. And it's funny because I can tell just by talking to the people that I know, like that, because I grew up in a white neighborhood, have a lot of people that are not of color that are my friends, people that are of color, but like I am friends with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You are.
And
you have a very diverse
group of friends. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that it's interesting because I can tell by talking, especially my friends who are not of color, I can tell who has done research and who hasn't, or who has begun to peel back the layers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's a certain level of passion and empathy and anger that comes with finding out how far down the shit goes.
Yeah.
It's like, it reminds me of the movie The Platform, you know what I mean? Where you just don't know how far that shit goes down.
Right.
And hopefully you get to the bottom before you're dead. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And we have people, have people who are not of color, like, teachers and educators that are doing that, and they've been doing that for years, like have been trying to tell other people, like, yo, this is deep.
Yeah.
Like, this goes deep and it's all connected. You know what I mean? And when it really gets down to it, the only color that really matters is green. You know what I'm saying? Because these cats, their ideology is completely different. One of the things I tell my students is, the mathematical difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? There is a huge mathematical difference between the two. And that's not even talking about $1 trillion. We got people on this planet that are making trillions of dollars.
Absolutely.
So, you know what I mean? The mathematical difference between $1 million and $1 billion, we're talking years.
Yeah.
We're talking as old as me and you.
Yep.
Versus 13 days. You know what I mean? So that's just $1 million to $1 billion. We ain't talking $1 billion to $1 trillion. So you can imagine the logic behind someone who has never had to think about money, who has never had, you know what I mean? And their thoughts become reality because they can just think of these things. Like Les Wexner can come up with an idea and have his shit on the shelf from inception in 12 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we can't get coronavirus tests to the country.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so it's like, I think that's the interesting and scary part, is like, what is really going on? Because the logic behind the people that are really making these moves, pulling strings and all that stuff, it's like,
Well, you touched on it, was the history of,
and I know you know a lot about this,
propaganda.
Right.
You know, the inception of Hollywood, the inception of Disney. You know, Disney did a lot of propaganda for the Nazis and the U.S.
That's why Africa is not at Epcot. You know what I mean? I didn't even know that, but that makes sense now. I just took my daughter to Disney World 2 years ago, and we go to every country. You know that place you can go and you go to each country. You can go to each country and da-da-da-da. You go around all countries. Africa's not there.
Right.
They even got the globe in the middle of the water, and you could see Africa, but they do not talk about Africa in any of those things. I didn't even know.
I mean,
what you just said,
one of
so
the
that makes sense.
biggest one of the first films you learn about in film school is D.W. Griffith's A Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
Which is sort of known as the first early big Hollywood production.
Right.
You know, that's kind of the origins of the Ku Klux Klan, Confederate soldier, and it's a story about the Civil War.
Right.
You know, and that was 1915.
That's
so if you look at the origins of Hollywood in general, you know, you have the obviously blackface and a lot of those early silent films where like they wouldn't even put an African American actor on screen.
Right.
They would cover their face in shoe polish and put white actors out there until, you know, years and years, finally you started seeing some black actors in Hollywood. And it took so long for a leading man to come on the scene in Hollywood. And the origins of not just racial propaganda, but war propaganda. It's literally from its inception was to program people.
Yeah,
I mean, you can look at the old OSS documents. The former one of the first presidents of ABC was an OSS officer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So you have these people that were the kind of the beginning of ABC, NBC, which
OSS is Nazi.
That's
by the way,
well, OSS was the beginning of the CIA, which the Office of Strategic something, but that was pre-CIA. So what you're thinking of is the SS. Hitler's SS. The OSS was the intelligence agency before the CIA. And so they were the ones responsible for Operation Paperclip and bringing Nazi scientists, and Werner von Braun, who was the head of NASA, who was a Nazi. So our entire space program was former Nazis, among other, scientific scientists and different folks. Well, it was either that or the Russians were going to take them. So, the OSS and American government got together and was like, no, we should bring the Nazis over here. It's probably going to be a good idea. So there's just weird things that the public doesn't know about Operation Paperclip. They don't know that we took the risk to bring high-level Nazis into our country. And then some of them probably ended up in the CIA. Some of them ended up in large banking corporations and large corporations. And, you don't really know who these people were. A lot of them had fake identities. They had gotten American accents, passports, and identifications. And you have just piles and piles of years and years of systemic racism on so many fronts.
So it's like almost that, that this has been implemented on so many levels by so many different groups, you know what I mean? At so many different times in history, you know what I mean?
How do you go back and fix all that?
Right.
It's just,
you just got to rip it up.
It's got to be a new system.
Yeah, you got to rip it up from the roots.
Bam.
Start all the way over again. Yep. Wow.
100% agree. I mean, I'm not like an anarchist in any way, shape, or form. But I think there are certain things that just need to be done. Certain systems that just need to be gone.
They're old.
Not even just rebuilt, but let's totally think about a whole new system. And I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. There are people really, really smart that should be in charge of the shit that's
going on. Not our wheelhouse. Yeah, right.
And we just, the leadership.
Expert.
You have, these kind of old institutions that Trump and people that are running for president, you got to keep the evangelical Christians at bay. You got to keep the pro-life. So they take these things that are pro-life and pro-choice, and they put those out on the front. And so if you don't toe that party line, well, you're not a Republican or you're not a Democrat.
Right.
So there's all this infighting between all these groups, between everyone. And so when people can sit down and have common ground like we are right now, coming from different backgrounds and cultures, and these are that's the energy, that's the movement that you're pushing out there into the universe, this conversation that we're having right now, which is this domino effect that we're seeing. Now, the more people are talking about it, the more people are aware of it, the more it's in the collective consciousness, then the more we can, the black community can have that louder voice when it comes to these top institutions and the people that run them, the bureaucrats that run them.
Well, one of the reasons I'm so excited about the conversation not ending is because that's what needs to happen for a group of people or even an individual to learn something. We didn't learn our ABCs until we said it over and over and over and over again. Repetition. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is so beautiful about this conversation right now is it has to be had no matter what. And you can't get away from it. You can't run from it. And there's going to be a certain level of consistency and repetition to it. And you're going to have to learn about it whether you like it or not. And a lot of people who are not of color are waking up. White people are waking up and like, oh my God, I need to figure this shit out, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to have a conversation at Thanksgiving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's the other thing. Is just like, imagine the conversations at Thanksgiving this year and what they're going to be like.
Yeah. Dude, one of my
compared
aunts,
to last year.
One of my aunts
That's be crazy, bro.
hit me up and was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry about this Facebook post. I hope you did." I'm like, number one, I don't ever go on Facebook.
I didn't even know.
I auto post all of our Strange Roads from Instagram, so I'm not on there ever.
Yeah.
So I had no clue. I'm not gonna give away any details, but I'm sure, and I haven't even looked at, like, I really don't care. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was completely ignorant, whatever you said. I still love you. However, you have to understand that you just, like, you're living in, some people are just living in this bubble. They're in small towns. They're not in the cities.
Right.
Everyone thinks
Right.
like, oh, everyone lives in this. No, they don't.
Right.
There's people that aren't exposed to other races and other cultures and other backgrounds. It's just not.
Right.
They don't ever have to have a conversation like this.
Right.
It's never needed, required, what have you.
Right.
However, so then you post something to social media and then you're like, oh shit. My niece has a black son, and my nephew, Mike, has my nephew has a black nephew.
Yeah.
And so, oh shit, I better reach out to them and let them know that I may have said something insensitive. So, like, that shows you that there's people that are catching themselves like, oh, damn,
I've been
fucked
fucking
up.
up. Exactly.
So then it's like, now we all have to but did you speak your truth? It's like the whole Drew Brees thing, that he was speaking his truth. He said what he meant the first time. He admitted later that he was but
he
dude,
was wrong.
you
Right.
said it.
Right.
And that was your truth at that time.
Right.
How do you go back from that?
Right.
So just don't fucking say anything stupid right now, white people.
Right. What's funny is I have to bring this up because I think this is interesting. Is back when Mike Brown got shot.
Yeah.
I remember there was a girl that I used to. We were friends in high school, even when college years started and whatnot. We were good friends. We hung out all the time. We all had the same friends and stuff and whatnot. And I remember when Mike Brown got shot. I remember her posting some crazy stuff online, and I just remember like letting her have it and then unfriending her. And now Mike Brown was shot back in 2014.
I think
like
it was
6 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and ever since then, she's tried to befriend me on more than one occasion through different pages and like on different social medias or whatnot. And I just, I was just like, I don't want to be friends with somebody that says some messed up stuff like that or whatever. I just so. Recently, my friend just sent me a message of a screenshot of what she thought or said about the last murder, the last popular murder.
Right.
Fucked up to say, but, of George Floyd or whatever. And he screenshotted it and sent it to me. And here I'm thinking like, damn, here we are 6 years later. And I haven't accepted any friend requests this entire time. I haven't tried to contact you in any way, shape, or form. I haven't tried to be your friend or whatnot. Here we are 6 years later, and you're still saying the same shit you were saying 6 years ago about people who look like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this was someone who I grew up with. Like, that I considered a really good friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't know. It's blowing my mind, and it's funny. It's sad. It's funny more than anything, to be honest, because I feel like I have a good sense of humor. But it is sad, and it is a little scary. You know what I mean? To know that the people that she used to come to my crib. We used to all hang, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was welcome to my house. My family was welcoming to her. All the whole nine. You know what I mean? It's just like, so it is scary and sad to know, like, I grew up with someone, and then that is what they embrace. You know what I mean?
They just need to shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah.
That's all people need to do right now.
And you know what I think is
like
funny is if I sat down with her, if I had time to sit down with her, I feel like we'd be able to have like a conversation.
A great conversation.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we would we would probably have a debate for the first part of it or whatever. But I feel like because I know her, you know what I mean? Like we would try to come to some level of understanding at some point, but she doesn't have that. She's probably surrounded herself with people that are embracing the shitty ideology that she's been spewing online this entire time. Like for the last decade, you know what I mean? Or ever since she stopped hanging out with people like me, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I find that interesting. And I think, you know, especially in like a year or two from now, man, you're going to start, you know, we are going to start seeing people that were just like out of control with the shit, like coming around. Yeah. Like, oh my God.
It's already happening.
I didn't know.
It's been where are we at? 2.5 weeks?
2.5 weeks.
Dude, there's a lot of, I hate to say change. I mean, we need change, hope and change. You know, it makes me think of the Obama campaign and a lot of that change just never came, you know, and so I think now you almost have that, you know, someone like Trump can galvanize the other side. Of thinking. So where you have this closed-minded herd mentality of the MAGA hat wearing folks and you know, I grew up with a lot of Trump supporters and I love those people. They're not bad people. And you know, I personally am not a fan of Trump, but I'm also not a fan of Joe Biden either. I think we're fucking...
I wasn't a fan. I haven't been a fan of any politician.
Hillary Clinton, I mean,
I haven't been a fan
she
of
was
any of them
for sure corrupt as hell.
Yeah.
Whether it was Mitt Romney before that. Like, I don't vibe with, I mean, I was going to vote for Bernie or probably Tulsi Gabbard more than any of those people, any of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And
well, you know, Angela Davis, she was interviewed back in 2017, I think, or 2018, and she was asked about politics and stuff like that and what she thought about, you know, Republicans, Democrats, you know, whatever. And she said, honestly, I'm going to be frank with you. She was like, there needs to be a completely new party.
Third party.
Third party.
For
Because
sure.
right now these parties do not address the issues that are plaguing the majority of the people that live here.
It's so left and right and you versus me.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't fall over here, then you're not with us. You're against us. Well, dude, I'm like kind of a left-leaning libertarian where I'm like, hey, let me start a business, run a business. I'm not going to fuck with you. If I want to have a gun, I should be able to have a gun. If I want to start a bit, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with you. You're gay? Cool. I don't care. I don't care what your sexuality is. I really, really don't. But I also don't want poor people to struggle. I don't want disenfranchised youth to... I want programs for youth. I want to, you know, there's, you know, some things that the left over, you know, your far right folks and, you know, we can talk about the welfare system and how it probably doesn't work all that well. Not to say that we shouldn't have something. We need something to help people. Like I was telling you on the phone, just pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Some people don't have bootstraps.
With no strap.
There is no strap on the boot to pull up. You know, so you can't just say pick yourself. You know. There's everyone's had help in life.
Yeah. Well,
everyone.
I think next is next is reparations. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to be talking about reparations for descendants of slaves.
I've heard that be brought up by God. I can't remember. It was just recently.
Yeah.
There was somebody proposed.
Jewish people got it for the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Indians got it for reservations. Like every single demographic of people that have been put through fucked up shit like slavery, which is slavery is like probably the worst.
Yeah.
But they've all been compensated.
Take some of that COVID-19 CARES Act money that all those big corporations got and those banks got and the airline companies. Take some of that money and go towards slavery, slavery reparations.
Right.
Like, let's take some of
you know, and they, you know, and I learned this recently, and you know, I didn't even know this before because I'm researching, you know, as well, but.
Everybody's learning so much.
Yeah, everybody's learning so much right now.
Yeah.
But I found out not too long ago that they did start giving people of color when they ended slavery and they started giving people of color land and mules, 40 acres and a mule, things. They started to, and then they stopped. And then they went back and they made all of the people that they gave 40 acres and a mule give the land back to the original owners. They made them do that. So they knew it was such a problem. What happened that they started to compensate people if they already started to do it, and then they reneged.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, this has already been established that this is something that needs to happen. They already started doing it. It's like, so hopefully that conversation gains traction and, whatever make it happen, United Nations makes it happen or something,
Man, if we can't figure it out here, Jesus. I mean, if we can't figure it out here on our own, for crying out loud, I mean, it's got to start on the local, smaller level, with communities within cities, whether it's city halls, the mayor, police chiefs, commissioners, starting there. Let's build off of that and just keep growing this thing, keep growing these systems and changing them as we go, having an open ear. Let's listen to each other.
No.
Let's talk to each other. Yeah. And man, this is a beautiful thing. I'm so happy. I feel just like there's kind of this lightness in the air right now. It's people are more open. They're more free to speak their mind, which is always a fantastic thing for me. Is, we all have to be vocal. We all have to, your white friends, your black friends, everybo's got to speak up.
Everybody needs to speak up
and
say something
in their own way. Me,
whether it's action or words, whatever. But I feel you.
If you're not down there protesting, that's okay. There's something.
I'll be completely honest. I didn't go to the protest. I've been to jail. I'm not going to go anywhere where I see corrupt police activity. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, man.
You know what I'm saying? And
you're not going back to jail. Fuck that.
I promise you that anybody that's been locked up, whether it's for a weekend or for a year or 6 months or whatever, I promise you they thought twice about going to some protest when they were watching people, when they're watching police, assault other citizens and throw them in jail for literally nothing. And you've already been in jail for some shit that you may or may not have done or maybe did or whatever. Like whether you drunk driving or whatever, you just bullshitting. I'm not. Yeah. No. I looked at the entire protest situation as the ocean. That's what I look like. That's how I looked at it. I'm afraid of the ocean. I don't like, a lot of people are, but I'm afraid of the ocean because,
like my brother-in-law said, I'm a pool person.
Yeah, I'm a pool person. I'm a pool
people.
person. I like to see to the bottom. I like to see around me. You know what I mean? I don't like to be anywhere where there's too much room for error.
Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it. Is like that particular environment, there was too much room for error.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got my baby with me. I got
my
little
wrapped
girl
up
with me.
into that mob.
Yeah, and I don't want to get there and get angry. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because like
some shit pop off where you're the guy sitting in front.
Yeah, and I didn't want to put myself in a position, and I had, some of my friends, kept inviting me to go to certain protests and stuff, but it's just like I just wasn't feeling it. And I think one of the main reasons was it's like I've been in police custody. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit ain't no joke, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like the last time I got in trouble, I got pulled over by a highway patrol officer. He was the coolest dude in the world. I was wrong. You know what I mean? I wasn't supposed to be driving, but I was. I was wrong, but I was very cooperative. We went through the whole process. You know what I'm saying? He was like, all right, it's cool, man. It is what it is. He wrote me my ticket. He called me and then he said, all right, can you have somebody come pick you up? The same thing. Like he was treating me like a human being, right? But because I was in Columbus, when you're a state trooper, you have to get signed off. You have to get by a Columbus police or whatever the jurisdiction, whoever's in that jurisdiction. So a Columbus police officer came and to sign off for me so I could get my ride home or whatever. And he tells the trooper that I have a warrant out for my arrest and that he stopped me earlier that night and I ran.
What?
Yeah, dude. That's what that's what CPD told the.
And it was.
And so he gets back in the car. He tells me what happened, and I said to him, I was like, "That is the same police officer that pulled me over a year ago, with his partner and pulled a gun on me."
I remember that story.
And I was like, that's the same police officer. And I told him everything that happened. And then the state trooper says to me, he was like, all right. He was like, I'll take care of this. And so he went back to him, and he told them that if they wanted custody of me, that they would have had to go to the Ohio State jail to pick me up, because that's where I got pulled over in Ohio State jurisdiction.
Right.
So they would have had to go to the college jail,
Mm-hmm.
which ain't shit, you know what I mean, and pick me up and do all that paperwork instead of just give me over, instead of just him handing me over, you know what I mean? So when people say there are good cops out there, yeah, there are good cops out there. You know what I mean? And they are
I know one.
presented, they are presented with the choices to be good cops or not be good cops. You know what I'm saying? And in that particular situation, this cop chose to do his job and be a good cop. God knows what would have happened to me if I got put in the custody of the officers who pulled a fucking gun on me the year before.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I was pulling into my driveway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you told me about that.
Yeah,
that was
dude.
fucked.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, I know that exists. Like, there's that culture of policing, or this fraternity, like these private secret groups, or whatever's going on. There's something. There is an entity that is in policing that, God knows how much money they have access to or whatnot, but they are running shit. They're straight up running shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you got some of the cops that can kind of stop a couple things from happening, but for the most part, overall, they're fucking running shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, hopefully it stops, man. I don't know. Hopefully it stops, but I don't know where I was going with that from the beginning, but
dude, that was beautiful.
it's fucked up.
No, you were just talking about your experience and getting pulled over, and with that cop, he could have been an asshole to you.
Right.
What if you would have got pulled over by that?
What if I got pulled over by that dude doing wrong?
Yeah.
That have gave him all the reason in the world. First time when they pulled me over that night, when they pulled a gun on me, the one of the officers I remember, it was his energy that he had towards me. It was this energy that I want to fight you. I want to get physical with you. Like, it was the way he looked at me, the way he spoke to me, the way he put the cuffs on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just all the energy he was giving me was confrontational. He was like, he wanted to take this to the next level.
Test you.
Yeah, he was testing me. You know what I mean? And he kept asking me questions. He kept talking shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember one time a cop pulled me over, CPD. They pulled me over for putting stickers up on campus. Or they stopped me for putting stickers up on campus. I was walking around. I had on gym shorts and a hoodie, and it was right after Ohio State game. And I'm walking down the street putting up stickers. There's stickers everywhere on campus,
Yep.
I'm walking around putting stickers up, and I see him drive by. Like, I'm walking this way. He sees me and does a U-turn in the middle of High Street. He does a U-turn in the middle of High Street and almost hits a group of drunk college students getting in their car. Literally getting in,
caused a horrific accident.
Piling into their car, driving away drunk. He almost hits them, drives past them, pulls up to me, and literally starts talking shit to me. First, he asked me for my social to see if he can take me to jail, to see if I got anything out on me or whatever. So he checked that.
Always checking them warrants.
Yep, tried to check, see if I had anything. Then he noticed I didn't have anything. Then he just proceeded to talk shit to me. He asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm putting up, stickers for my band. It was funny because it was on like a Thursday, and that Saturday we were going to be on Good Day Columbus. We were going to be on TV in 48 hours. So he was telling me, he was like, he was talking shit about the band. He was like, Mr. Anderson, what's that mean? He was like, you guys probably suck. Like, he was literally like, he was literally talking shit to me. And then he said to me, well, when's your guys' next show? And I was like, Newport? And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, and we're also going to be on Good Day Columbus on Saturday morning. So if you're not doing anything, check it out. And his whole demeanor changed.
Wow, isn't that?
His whole demeanor changed. Because I told him I'm about to be on national fucking TV, bro, in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could air your ass out real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, his whole demeanor changed. Then he told me some story about some band from Germany who was putting stickers on people's cars and, like, thought it was funny or whatever. I just looked at him like, And he was like, all right, well, you have a good night, and left. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Mind you, debauchery is going on all around me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You're like the
most
normal dude. Just
you know what OSU campus looks like after a game, especially
hammered.
if we win. Like, dude, I used to do it.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
So I just thought
can't live in Columbus and not go to a Buckeyes game and get destroyed.
I just thought that was interesting. This is like he's in the middle of all of these crimes being committed, all of these things happening, and he stops me for misdemeanor 5
Yep.
to talk to me about some stickers, and you got kids jumping in their cars driving drunk around you.
Yep.
I just thought, but I at the end on that. Man.
Dude, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That was really powerful. Seriously.
Yeah.
I appreciate hearing that. And is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything else you want to tell people again?
Yeah. I don't know when this is coming out, but we got a show on the 19th.
Okay.
This places are allowing live music starting June 19th.
Okay.
So we're playing at Natalie's. We originally,
nice, dude.
Yeah, we originally had our CD release scheduled for that day.
Gotcha.
But Charlie hit us up and asked us to play. Everybody's down. We haven't played in a while, so we're all excited about it. So that's our next show. We're doing 2 shows on that day too. We're doing one at 8:00 and one at 10:00. And then I think with the restrictions, it's like the capacity is like 50 people. So
right,
they're gonna, you have to buy tables,
or
whatnot. So
I need to get in on that.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, we got the album coming out probably at the end of the summer. I got a solo record coming out called The Black Eagle Scout, and the reason I call it the Black Eagle Scout because I was in Boy Scouts, and I went through Boy Scouts, and I got up to Eagle Scout, and one of the things that I didn't have that all the people around me, all the other boys around me, I was the only black kid, and that's why it's called the Black. I was the only black kid in the troop. One of the things that everybody had, they had a father figure. They had somebody, there to help them along. Now, not to say that my father wasn't there for me, but for that particular situation, I didn't have another male figure that stepped up and showed me and walked me through that process or whatnot. So it kind of just like, I got to that point and I just stopped. So this particular project, it's called the Black Eagle Scout, is, in my eyes, my Eagle Scout project.
Dude, that's amazing.
So this
that is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is my Eagle Scout project.
Oh, dude,
that I never
great.
did.
Stone was a scout.
Were you? Hey, all right. That's what I'm talking about.
Life
Scout.
Same.
That's what I was a Life Scout. Yeah, I was a Life Scout.
No way,
Yeah.
dude.
I was a Life
Stoner and Eric,
Scout.
both
Yeah,
Life
man.
Scouts. I'll be
And
damned.
I got so
amazing.
close to doing the Eagle Scout project, but I just didn't have the motivation. Dude, I was 18.
Yeah.
I became a Girl Scout. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking for girls at that point. Like,
Yep. Looking to party and
I
hang
was
out
looking to
get some
party and
girl.
kick it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about like finishing something I started when I was 11
Yeah.
or 12. You know what I mean? Like, and every single person that was in my troop that was my age, all of them got their Eagle Scout. All of them, because they had either their dad or they had an uncle or they had somebody that was right there
To show them the ropes.
not only showing but making them
Right.
finish what they started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. That's not to say that my scoutmasters and everybody that was in that, they didn't help me. And they didn't.
Yeah.
It's not to say that. I'm just saying that when it came to that point, to the goal line, to the finish line, to getting it done, so I can say that I am this, like, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? And it just happened to be I was the only black kid in the troop. You know what I mean? So
this project is your redemption.
This is
your redemption
this is my
solo
Eagle Scout
project.
Yep, this is my Eagle Scout project.
Dude,
It's
that's
called the Black Eagle Scout.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like making me smile from ear to ear. I love that story.
I'm excited to put it out. I'm excited with the music and everything. So, and I got some producers from Columbus.
Okay.
And Dre did Andre Walker. He did a track on it.
Sweet.
Diwali, a guy named Mike and Ike, Josh Altfader, Jay Fader did the John Arthur Johnson track. So. I'm excited. I'm going to be putting that out on July 20th. I'm putting it out on my birthday.
Awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
And Carlos is doing the artwork. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
excited about it. So
Cool.
That's pretty much all I've got. And then if any of your listeners, if you guys have youth that, are interested in songwriting or song making or whatnot, like I'm doing free lessons right now for youth and mentoring services, to help them write songs, importance of content, just, all the things that, youth really need right now, like an outlet to be able to express themselves emotionally, learn emotional vocabulary, learn how to, deal with their emotions, change their, behavior and things like that. You know what I mean? Just to be more in line with what they're trying to get out of life, Because I mean, when I was my age, when I was their age, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I mean, I kind of had an idea, but I just wish I had someone would have showed me. Yeah. So, other than that, man, that's all I'm really doing right now.
I've sat in at your Franklin Prep classes.
Yeah.
Me and TJ have been over there a couple times.
Yeah.
We've shot some video, a couple different times projects. So I got to see you in action as a teacher. And dude, I wish I had a teacher like you.
Oh, thanks, man.
For real, because you're someone that those kids really connect with.
Yeah.
You're not in the way that you talk to them. The way you talk to them like equals, like they are. They're. I don't know. It's just they really respect you. They look up to you. But you're not talking like to them like they're below you,
right?
Ever,
right?
And I just really was blown away by the sitting in on those classes, and I think you got to keep doing that. You're a mentor to those kids, and I love it, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm really passionate about. Yeah, I think that's probably the one thing that's over the years have really kept me like connected with music and just giving me a sense of just just gratification and just being like happy and humbled that I'm able to do what I enjoy doing, and I'm able to show young people like that's a beautiful thing. It's when you get up in the morning, that you're going to enjoy what you're doing for the day, or you have to go do what you have to do for the day, but deep down that you're going to enjoy it no matter what happens. Even if a kid turns up, there's a problem there, but that you're set out to go do something that you love doing. It just makes it makes it a lot easier to get up and start moving,
Dude,
yeah, man,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really sounds like your purpose in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Part of your path as a mentor and a teacher, and you're doing a hell of a job. Like, I love all the projects you got going on right now. This has been an amazing conversations, and I really do just tell everyone, have these conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have these conversations.
They don't have to be recorded and thrown up on the internet like what we're doing. But, if you have a friend that you don't necessarily agree with, or, it's now's the time, open up and, let's work it out.
Yeah.
Let's work it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, bro. All right, dog. Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you, bro. I
care.
gotta come back on. We gotta do some more stuff. We gotta talk about some other shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I have a feeling you'll be a recurring guest.
I can't wait.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.